Hello and welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. Uh, Not that it should surprise anybody, but we have Jenner,
Present.
Shane,
Still here.
and Wagner.
In countless iterations.
Hello and welcome to another episode
Oh,
of What's on
shit.
the Pile.
Okay, we're live now.
Not that it should. Yeah, there we
Anything
go.
can happen.
Yeah, no, I just started hearing myself talk on watching the stream as it went.
Mute the stream.
Yeah, I forgot to. Anyway.
Always mute the stream.
This week, we've got a couple of things on the agenda. First up, we are going to start where we left off from last week and discuss what Shane and I thought about Urusei Yatsura, the movie Two Beautiful Dreamer. Or is it Beautiful Dreamer, the movie Two? It's the movie Two Beautiful Dreamer.
Yes.
This was recommended by Jenner and Wagner, and the film itself is a bona fide anime classic. The show itself, which I have never seen, I'm told is a goofy harem comedy. Whereas this particular film deviates wildly from the show by being both philosophical and transcendent. Transcendent.
And transcendental.
Incredibly original, and was a heavy influence on a lot of films that we like that came later, like Dark City and Groundhog Day. But enough about the Wikipedia entry. What did we think about Beautiful Dreamer? This film has been built up for me. I don't know about you, Shane, but it's been built up for me after like literal decades of AMV people either showing videos that are to it or saying, "Oh no, dude, you gotta see this show.
Yeah.
You gotta see this movie. Just watch the movie. You don't have to see the show. Just watch the movie." And I've been hearing that since I was 19 years old. I'm now 42, and I finally watched the movie. So, what'd you think, Shane?
Oh, did we lose Wagner? Like he's frozen. Oh no, he's back.
No, he's there.
No, I liked it
little
a lot.
dicey
I mean,
again.
I liked it a lot. I'd sort of seen it in an odd way. I mean, way back in the day, we used to do this thing called AMV Iron Editor, where we go up on stage and we have 2 hours to put together a music video. And this is like 2002 maybe. This was one of the sources, and I hadn't seen it, but I had to make a video to this movie in like 2 hours.
Is that your never-ending story video?
No, this was not. This was
Oh.
So this was the one where I asked my friend to get me a drink because I was very nervous because I was on stage.
The
He couldn't.
Sprite bottle?
Yeah, he couldn't get up to the room because the elevators were so completely slammed. So I accepted a bottle of vodka and Sprite from a stranger, someone I sort of knew from the internet, and got
Ooh.
completely hammered while making this video. But anyways, while making this video, I scrubbed through the footage of this movie, as you do, maybe 4 or 5 times in total, like every frame of this. So as I was watching this, I remembered, even though this was so long ago and I was blackout drunk, I remember almost every frame of this movie and never understood what was going on. So I was making a comedy video, so I was trying to find the funny bits, which
Mhm.
there are some. And it's the song I used was "This Is Your Life" from Fight Club, which
That was
Looking
the
at
one.
looking at it now, because that song's sort of about the mundanity of your life every day, and I mean, it's about other things too. But now, having seen this movie, that actually fits a lot.
Yeah.
With the whole, they're in this endless loop and all this stuff. But really, I was just looking for goofy visuals. Uh, and I remember being very confused because I knew I also have never seen the show. I knew its reputation as a zany comedy. I know Rumiko Takahashi's created Ranma. So while I'm scrubbing through this movie, and there were some like, just weird visuals, and I was very confused.
Mhm.
Now they make sense. I was like, I was into this movie from the first frame because the music that's playing in the opening, this like haunting, melancholy score, while they're all on the beach, and you see the clock.
Mhm.
From there, I mean, and there wasn't music for a while after that, but that song kept kind of reverberating in my head as the first 15 20 minutes are playing. And I admit I was very confused at first. They throw a lot of characters at you. I didn't know any of them.
Mhm.
You sort of learn who's important. I'm assuming all the people you see are people that are that
Yeah.
that are in the show.
Oh yeah.
As Wagner has observed, Urusei Yatsura basically just keeps adding new characters to the ensemble on an episode by episode by episode basis.
Mhm.
And there is something like, what, 120 episodes of that series?
Something like that. Yeah, it's the Takahashi series that puts all the others to shame with its cast size. And considering that, Ranma One Half and Meizana Koku and Inuyasha, that's really saying something. Urusei Yatsura has like an order of magnitude more characters than those series.
And by the way, Meizani Koku is probably my favorite anime of all time. I've only seen it once, but I watched it over the summer and absolutely loved it. This is like in 1999 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have very fond memories of that, but have not revisited.
Well, it's a lovely show.
Yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah, and what's her face? I don't remember their names now. The nurse lady, she looks just like Kyoko from.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
I want to say
We have to go get
Shinobu?
Ryoko.
Oh yeah, Nate and I both watched the dub.
I'm sorry.
So sorry.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't horrible. I mean, I've heard worse dubs.
You have to understand that when people are telling you to watch this movie, they're trying to get you to recapture the moment, the moment and situation and circumstance when they saw it, and I saw it subtitled, mostly correct, but still a little bit of confusing translation in there, with absolutely no prior knowledge of the series either. So I went utterly blind.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one of the lot of us who actually saw a good chunk of Urusei Yatsura and Urusei Yatsura the movie 1 before I saw Urusei Yatsura the movie 2.
So Nate?
Nate.
Okay.
What's the word, my man?
Okay. For the first hour, I was bored out of my mind, and I hated every character.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened in that last half hour, that last 40 minutes, where it suddenly became this like brilliant philosophical It was like it was two such different movies in one movie. I think that if I had been under those circumstances, like back when the first thing that I ever saw that was anime, that I considered anime, like I never thought about Robotech being anime or anything like that when I was a kid, was Tenchi, the movie. I think it's 2.
Daughter of Darkness?
No, maybe it's the first.
Muyo in Love?
Tenchi Muyo in Love.
Not the first movie. It may have been this. I don't remember. I'd need to see them. It's been years. But I saw that Tenchi movie, and I was hooked immediately. I was just like, oh, that Ryoko character is awesome. Tenchi's not bad, but everybody else is awesome. These are all funny-ass people. And only 2 of them are actually into Tenchi at any given point. Like, none of them really give a shit about the guy. But I'm getting off track. I loved that movie, and it made me want to search out the show and watch all of it and learn as much as I could. This movie did not make me feel like it was necessary to ever revisit these characters. Although it had some incredible ideas for a 1984 anime, which is just mind-blowing, some of the stuff they did in it.
Well, worth noting, the 4th movie is even more cryptic.
Yeah. What, 4th or 5th?
4th.
I haven't watched them in so long. I have to put them back in order in my memory.
Wait, so why did they go this route with the movies for the show that's not like this?
Mamoru fucking Oshii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the comparison that I have made before was if you take the cast of Friends and drop them into A Midsummer Night's Dream. You take facile, surface level comedy characters and you suddenly drop them into an honest to God great work of art and see what happens. This is kind of what you get. Now, when I first saw this movie, on record, this is one of the 4 tapes that I traded with a friend in an argument we were having. I lost that argument. That absolutely addicted me to anime, and I had no idea what any of these characters were. I had no idea why the girl in the tiger stripe bikini could fly or electrocute people. I did not know why that one guy had a private militia. I didn't know who the giant stone statue was that was holding up the city on top of the back of a turtle. I didn't know any of these characters, and that was
What's with the
fascinating.
cat?
The
What's with
cat.
the giant cat?
That is a very specific character. That is a ghost
no,
cat.
I know.
Yeah, the cat that was sitting with the principal is actually a major character from one of the episodes. It is a ghost cat who died because its heedless owner had left it outside in the cold to starve to death. And when it came back as a ghost, it came back as a ghost that only sits under those heated tables that have the quilt around the edge. And the joke of that episode was how unwieldy it is, and he would like put himself on stairs and people couldn't get around him. He's just a gigantic obtrusive cat. And so they stuck him in one scene in this movie.
Drinking hot tea, of course.
And what I loved about it was I had no idea what was going on, and the movie was not trying to help me at all. Not only from the perspective of not knowing the series, but from the perspective of not being Japanese. There was so much stuff in here that if you're not Japanese, you're not gonna get, and I did not get until I watched a lot of other series and saw enough things that explained what that table with the quilt around it was and why it's important.
It is also a film.
Food is.
It is also a film where repeat viewings, once you're less completely disorientated, kind of help a lot in understanding the relations with everybody, but also just sort of the general mindset that you're sort of working through the thing. But I like that Shane hit upon my favorite description for this, which is something that nobody would ever expect from something that was derived from such a broadly comic series, which is it is haunting. The whole movie, I have always found one of the great sort of surrealist, not just anime, but kind of one of the great sort of populist surrealist movies I've ever seen. Full stop.
Oh, we lost Matt.
Oh, we lost.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. There we go.
Yep.
I may be popping in a little bit, but there's connection is less stable than I'd like.
Yeah.
No, it's as I said a few weeks ago when we were talking about this a bit on Bastards. This is a movie that, for a lesser director, would have been the absolute masterpiece of a career. And it's a testament to how interesting Oshii is as a filmmaker, both in animation and live action, that this is not actually his absolute masterpiece.
I mean, I've seen Ghost in the Shell. I've never seen Angel's Egg. I'm trying to think of what else he's done.
Avalon is pretty amazing. Garm Wars is gloriously batshit. Those are both live action movies, incidentally. I am told that Pat Labor 2 in particular is absolutely astonishing.
The one I was thinking of was 1. I'm not sure if I think that's Oshii.
I've never seen any of these.
Yeah. Jinro is one of the most depressing freaking movies ever made.
Oh, great! That's the one you think.
I liked Jinro.
Jinro is great.
Wait, let me just because my brain may be addled. It's Jinro the Wolf
Brigade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like that one. I still have a copy of that one. One of my few titles I still have.
Yeah.
Oshii is a consistently interesting and a consistently sort of self-reinventional filmmaker. He's seeing an Oshii movie, even going from the present time backwards or going from the beginning of his career forwards, you're never quite sure what you're going to get in the next movie. Like I say, sometimes he ends up with some mind-melting piece of pulp work, like Garm Wars: The Last Druid. Sometimes he ends up with a strange amusement with 4 characters that looks like it was shot in a vacant lot, like Assault Girls. But even that was kind of a hoot in its own right.
God, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
I'm trying to think if there's any other properties where an auteur has taken control of it for one installment or whatever and made it their own.
The obvious.
I know that's happened. I'm thinking
maybe like Frank Miller with Dark Knight Returns was kind of along those grounds. But there's something on the tip of my mind that there was something like this that happened, but I can't remember what it was.
I mean,
I would say the obvious connection would be when the auteurs step in and do a couple of episodes of a TV series, and all of a sudden it gets really good. Though I can't think of the examples at the moment.
it
I
is definitely.
remember Quentin Tarantino directed an episode of
CSI?
Alias
Was it?
that
Oh, was it Alias?
that had Angus Scrimm in it, and
Wow, really?
it's the only episode of Alias I remember. The
That
end.
says something in its own right.
However,
That's
I'm not saying I'm using Tarantino as an example. I don't actually like his work or the man myself personally. He just bothers me.
I can't. I have similar issues, but I imagine that would fill an entire podcast.
Yes, it would.
That's probably a whole other discussion, to be honest.
Yeah.
The auteur kind of stepping into a known franchise and doing something different is definitely a kind of an unusual phenomenon in filmmaking. It's one of those things that is not going to happen that often.
I mean, the third Harry Potter movie, I guess you could say.
I was going to say the third
I didn't
Resident
like that
Evil
one.
movie.
I didn't like that one either, but
You have to allow the third Resident Evil movie had one of the most jaw-dropping endings of any franchise horror movie that you can think of. Granted, they completely squandered it right at the beginning of the fourth one, but still.
Oh, that's the multiple Milas. Okay.
Yes.
Army of Mila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to talk about with this movie. I don't have a lot to say. It didn't make as much of an impact as I think it does on everybody else. However, I will say that I was watching it with my daughter, and the three things she said during it were, so that girl loves that idiot?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
then she said a little while later, oh, it's because she's an idiot.
So is the girl she was referring to Shinobu, the
Lum.
seamstress, or Lum?
Lum.
Okay, yeah, Lum is an idiot.
Shinobu was a seamstress?
I call her that because she was the one who was stitching up the pants in the Nazi cafe.
Yeah,
she
what?
seems like-
Okay, so here's the thing.
Wait, that was
This
a
is a
manji,
perfect-
right? That wasn't Nazi. That was a manji. Oh,
No,
it's the
that was
same
Nazi.
symbol. Oh, it's Nazi.
Yeah,
It was
there was
straight up
that was
Nazi.
Nazi
Third Reich
memorabilia.
decadent
it was
cafe.
Third
They're thinking
Reich
they're thinking
decadent
like a
cafe.
visual Night Porter reference, which is
Yeah.
a deep enough cut in its own right.
The point of that is a joke because the main character in that little group is a little tin pot fascist. So it's a joke that he would think that the school festival event that they could come up with that would be unique to make money for the school would be something Nazi themed. So it's a joke. He's a little tin pot fascist.
Which
That was
guy?
Megane, I think.
Magane, yeah.
Which one was that?
You poetic stud.
He was okay. Magane was the one in the Nazi cap who was kind of the leader of the random group, who was not the one in the white suit.
He has sort of a ponytail. He was the one who did the narration after the sort of the act break, where it was talking about the progress of the new world.
Yeah,
that's when the movie started to change for me. That exact scene, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, something interesting is happening. Yeah. So it's just another joke in there. It's not attempting to make any advocacy point or anything you have to be worried about. It's just pointing out that some of its shitty characters are shitty. And that is sort of at the core of Urusei Yatsura. Ataru is a shitty individual, and it's a joke that he is a terrible person. I actually object to this being called a harem anime, because in a harem anime, you got a bunch of girls trying to get with a guy who is usually a milquetoast self-insertion character for the audience. That's not exactly what they did in Urusei Yatsura. Technically, you could argue it's a harem. In reality, he's just running around trying to lech on women, most of whom are kicking him to the curb all the time. So, sorry, you were going to say something, Shane.
Oh, I was going to say, the whole Nazi thing, didn't they also reference that the guy in charge of all the dreaming, he inspired Hitler?
Yes.
Yeah.
which was
That was just
also,
because they were saying he inspires all great people, whether they are great evil or great good.
But the dreams always go bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
So it.
I had not actually made that connection before, so I think you may be onto something there.
uh,
Yeah.
I
He's kind of giving Megane the wrong damn dream, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
um I'm wondering if anybody has ever done an AMV using the scenes in the Nazi place to the scene in Falling Down at the
Oh, I know.
Nazi place.
Yeah. No. To the best of my knowledge, then no one has thought of that,
Yes,
and
I'll
not
be the
great.
first.
Now it's in my head. Thank you.
Mhm,
Give
mhm.
it
I'll
to
have
me.
you know.
Give it to
You
me.
know where I saw Falling Down?
Hmm.
I was a transfer student who saw it in Germany.
That had to be quantum leap is a bitch,
Interesting.
I think I was 13, and my brother's 3 years younger than me. I
Mhm.
think I was 13, 14. His friend's mom took us to see Falling Down in the theater.
Wow.
I
That's
loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've loved
Yeah.
it ever since. But
That movie kind of left me cold the first time that I saw it. I mean, I could see where it was going for. I absolutely thought that Douglas's performance was amazing. I
Mhm.
probably need to give it another look. Uh, I haven't seen
Uh,
it since I saw it in the theater.
I
Uh,
That movie had a pretty profound effect on me, but not because of the movie, really. I first saw it when it came to HBO like a year later,
mhm.
and um, I watched it with my mom, and it finished, and I was like, "Isn't it? He just wanted to be with his daughter. That's so tragic." And she was like, "No, he was going to kill himself and kill her
Mm.
and his wife. That's what was going to happen." I was like, "No, he said he wasn't going to do that." And she was like, "No, these things always end like that." And it just blew my mind. Like, oh
Mhm.
my God. Like the somebody who is the head of the household, a parent, an adult, can be so horrible that they will kill their own family. That was a realization moment right there for me. Put a lot of things in
Yeah.
perspective. Great
quantum,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I guess.
quantum leap is a bitch.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, but I don't know. Just because I didn't mention it on Bastards, I will say that my favorite AMV ever done to this movie is the one Lee Thompson did with "Am I Awake?" And then there's
oh yeah, I remember that one. And
Uh-oh.
I think you might be dropping out again,
short
Matt.
gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've lost you again.
Get you a booster.
Oh, that sucks.
reason
Uh,
I gave
welcome back.
was Lee Thompson's "Am I Awake?" AMV, which is extremely appropriate on every level. I love They Might Be Giants unabashedly, and I believe I ended up giving that one grand prize in Expo that year. So
That's probably why I know it. Because
probably,
I do remember
Well,
it.
I mean, particularly for its time, there are some really, really amazing visuals in this. Particularly the sort of the fly through sequence when they're on the Harrier is a very impressive kind of feat of technical bravura of a sort that you don't see in a lot of comedy spin-off movies from that period. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene that's lit, a POV scene that's just lit by headlights, car headlights. There's a scene where there's a revolving camera with the Kyoko
Yeah.
looking woman and somebody else are talking. That was really. I'm like, they didn't have to do this. This is he's like showing off, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
cool.
as I say, especially for an ostensible comedy spin-off, there is a stunning amount of kind of scripting and philosophical and technical bravura, and I'm absolutely going to chalk that up to Oshii.
Mm.
In fact, I think that's almost a matter of record. Supposedly, and this is Wikipedia talking. I'm just aping here. Supposedly, Takahashi came this close to rejecting the script just because it was so out of character with the both its source material and its predecessor.
Hmm.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Was this?
I was
I
going to say the third movie is a little more conventional. The fourth movie is completely batso. Nobody understands the fourth movie. um,
I like
Uh,
it that it ended with the idiot being an idiot and everybody just wanting to beat the shit out of him.
That is how it always ends.
That's kind of how it always goes.
Because they just went through hell, like literal hell, and then they're just like, you idiot again.
Yeah, I
What a
kind of figured it would end on a note that would bring it back to its source material. So
At the same time, it definitely is fuel for the ongoing speculation, which I kind of remember floating around at the time that Animego was releasing the series, that Ataru is low-key indestructible. He's kind of the Nietzschean Ubermensch.
It was a point of some of the episodes that he has become practically indestructible from all of the frequent electric shocks from Lum. He's just built up the resistance, and now very little can actually hurt him at this point.
which, if I recall correctly, is something that they leaned into even harder in the fourth movie, where he spent most of it running for peace, if that makes any sense. It's a strange movie.
It should be pointed out, just so you have the only piece of background which is actually necessary. The whole bit where he flashes back to the race where he steals Lum's top. So that was the first episode of Urusei Yatsura. The whole plot of Urusei Yatsura is set off because Lum's race comes to Earth and says, "We will conquer you unless your randomly chosen champion can beat our champion in our national pastime," which it turns out to be tag. And they randomly select Ataru, and Ataru thinks this is going to be great. I get to mac on a pretty girl in a bikini, and then he finds out she can fly, and he can't. So in the final day of the competition, what he does is he pulls out a suction cup gun and grabs her top, which is the only thing apparently she has to wear. And when she makes a grab for it, he manages to grab her horns, wins, and his exclamation of joy that he has managed to defeat the alien invaders, she mistakes as a declaration of engagement with her. Which this is Rumiko Takahashi.
Comic hijinks ensue.
And then comic hijinks.
And ensue.
Okay. So Lum is the first character introduced, and she's really the only one who sticks around for just about every episode of the comics, and is a constant factor of she thinks they're getting married, and he, for some reason, wants nothing to do with her. Probably the constant electric shocks, but.
So he's always macking on some other woman. She's always electrocuting him because she's the jealous type. Hijinks ensue.
I thought they were together.
Didn't
he express love for her in the movie?
Technically, diplomatically engaged.
Yeah.
And yes, in the movie, he actually does express love for her, same as he expresses love for everybody else, which goes to show poly doesn't work if you don't negotiate it.
But he did make very clear that he loves her just a little bit more.
Yes.
Which I think is important.
There's one episode of the show, I don't remember if it was the comics or not, where they go to the realm where you can see the red strings. So theoretically, in Jenny Smith, connected by a string.
Kind of crackling up.
And
didn't hear any of that.
Okay. Just because Matt is dropping out, I know the bit that he's talking about here.
Back then.
There is one episode where there is this myth that there is an invisible red string connecting, two soulmates. And at some point, they somehow get the ability to see the red string, and there is a red string between Lum and Ataru. But there are dozens of other red strings attached to both of his hands as well.
That's pretty funny.
At which point, Lum electrocutes him again. Like I say, she's very monogamist. He is not.
Okay. Well, I hope Matt comes back.
I hope Matt comes back.
I really don't have anything more to say about the movie. I that's it.
I mean, it is absolutely a series worth giving a look to if you get the chance.
Nope.
Well, okay.
Too many things to watch.
Too many things to watch. Okay.
Yeah, I got a piece of it.
There is apparently a recent new Urusei Yatsura or remake that I want to give a look to at some point. I haven't had a chance yet. So, again, also too many things to watch. As far as the original series, I have the advantage that Bob collected the VHSs up through about volume 35 and sold them to me. So I've
Nice.
got that.
Welcome back, Matt.
They all had helpful liner notes as well. That helped a lot.
Didn't think I was
believe
going to be
me.
I didn't think I was going to be the one jumping in and out of this call. Um,
You're
sorry
the
about that.
designated sin eater this week.
Yeah.
Apparently, I suffer for everyone's sins. Okay.
Jenner told us the string story.
Okay.
I full attribution. This was the story
Mhm.
that you were telling, but yeah.
Yeah. No problem.
I remembered that one.
Okay, let's move on.
Hey, okay.
All right.
Enough about this minor masterpiece.
We will take a break, but when the call comes to an end, but we'll be back immediately after that.
Mhm.
But let's just keep going until then. Let's talk about what we've seen. Yeah, what we've seen this recently that we want to talk about. Stuff we want to bring up in media, if it's TV show or whatever, or movie or.
Of my own recent viewing, two things really stand out in my head, and the differences between the two of them couldn't be more night and day. On the one hand, there was the recent, way under the radar, as it turns out, just kind of flied out in January, Guy Ritchie, caperish, light spy, heisty movie thing, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, which is a completely nonsensical comic espionage action movie that is buoyed considerably by the usual solid work by Jason Statham as the head of the team, and a very, very fun ensemble of loonies surrounding him, including Cary Elwes in his biggest role in years as their minder. Aubrey Plaza doing a slightly more playful, slightly less psychopathic variation on her Aubrey Plaza thing. And a rather amazing, ultimately B plot to the movie between Josh Hartnett as a slightly deer in the headlights actor who ends up getting recruited onto the spy team, and an absolute cracker of a villainous performance by Hugh Grant, adding another into his long line of memorable sleazoids lately. And basically, the relationship between him as a multi-billionaire illegal arms dealer, and Hartnett as the actor who he's slightly obsessed with, which is why Hartnett got roped into the team in the first place, ends up being this kind of weird, adorable bromance that is actually a lot more compelling than the A plot of the movie.
I saw half of that movie on the
Wait,
back of an airline seat.
Wasn't The Covenant also Guy Ritchie? Didn't that just come out? Or was that
That
somebody
just
else?
came out. Haven't seen that one yet.
Is that also Guy Ritchie?
They actually called it Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which is an interesting flex, given that nobody knows what the movie is or what it's about. It's around.
I think it was playing in a theater near me. That's why I knew about it.
That's how that went. The other thing that I saw lately, and on the subject of animation, oh guys, oh holy shit! So I saw Unicorn Wars. Have any of you heard of this thing?
I've seen it.
What did you think of Unicorn Wars?
Oh, I love it.
It's fucking horrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is basically militarized Care Bears versus the last unicorns. It is the most terrifying movie I have seen in ages. It is abject, straight up fucking nightmare fuel.
The kids liked it.
Yeah. You're like I say, that would have fucked me up for life if I had accidentally caught that, around the time that Plague Dogs fucked me up for life. But even so, that said, wholeheartedly recommend to the Steely of Nerve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No
kind of amazing Spanimation. From the same guy who did Bird Boy, if you ever ran across that thing, which I've had a copy of for a while and still haven't seen yet, but I do need to find time to go back and see that as well.
Is it streaming somewhere?
Unicorn Wars?
Unicorn Wars.
I think so.
It's on Amazon, but
It's
rentable.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie or series?
Movie.
There is a unicorn series that's also very good by Jendi Tartakovsky. Um,
Hmm.
and it is on it's on HBO, what used to be HBO Max.
Okay.
We're not going to stop calling it HBO Max. I refuse to do that.
Why would you go with the
Why would you
Skinamax side of the that name? Like great, huge weight, classic. Everybody, it's a great brand versus we show titty movies.
Why? Yeah.
Let's
Why would
go
you?
with the titty movies.
Why would you drop the important
I'm
part?
I'm sorry. Venn diagrams overlap.
Mm.
Anyway, who else saw something they want to bring up?
Uh,
Yeah.
I finally watched The Banshees of Inisherin, which I absolutely loved. Um, I don't want to say too much about it because I think who's seen it.
I have
I
not.
would highly recommend. Here's the plot synopsis. So Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are best friends, or so we're told. I think we never see the friendship. One day, Brendan Gleeson says, "I don't like you anymore. Leave me alone," and that's the movie. And Colin Farrell is amazing in it. He plays this very sweet, but he's like the village idiot.
Yeah. Well, no, the village idiot.
Uh,
Barry Cowan is the
yeah,
village idiot.
but he's
Colin Farrell's like the village naif.
yeah, but he, it's about his inability to deal with this. It's a hilarious movie. It's also very sad, and because it's Martin McDonagh, it goes to some dark places.
It goes to dark places.
It's
It
a
is.
beautiful movie. It's set in Ireland and during the Irish Civil War, which I don't know anything about. There's a metaphor in there about the Civil War. I'm
Yeah.
sure that I'm
But yeah,
not
very
kidding.
very witty script, very sad picture.
Very sad, but
And
very
yeah,
very funny. Very
and
very funny.
but yeah, Farrell's performance was an absolute thing of beauty in particular, and it was nice to see, of course, him and Gleason getting reunited, sort of, after a much more congenial relationship in Bruges, which some of you guys still have to see.
I think Nate needs to see it,
I've
right?
seen it.
Yep.
Mm.
So
Highly,
I need to see it. Yeah.
Mm.
I would highly recommend this movie. Jane did make a comment that's sort of a spoiler in our group
Mm.
chat.
Okay.
I won't remind you of it. You might remember it, but just go in blind, I guess. I went in knowing it was about a friendship ending. That's all I knew.
Mhm.
But that's like right out of the gate. That's like the first scene is Brendan Gleeson's like, I don't like you
Oh.
anymore.
It's what spirals from that
Yeah.
initial.
Oh,
point.
and there's a character in it named Declan, and what happens to him is hilarious,
Oh no.
but it also kicks off some fairly bad things.
Oh.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. So my in-laws all went and saw that movie and declared it the worst film they have ever seen. I have never gotten more of a anti-recommendation for a film than from them, but I really don't trust their taste in
Did they
films.
somehow not find it funny? Because it's fucking.
They did not find it
It
funny.
will
They thought
it will
was
make you
absolutely
sad.
It was sad,
So-
but like
I have a comparison here. I had a very good friend who I used to do D&D with like every freaking week, and I found out one week that he hated Cowboy Bebop because he hated how it ended. Because he said, "Why would I watch an entire series to see the hero lose?" And I'm like, "Okay, Brandon, what anime are you watching right now?" "Oh, we're watching shit. I'm not gonna be able to think of it.
That's what I thought.
Gut?
Everybody
Guts?
loses.
No. What? The main
Berserk.
character Gut.
Yeah, Berserk.
I'm watching Berserk. I
Oh,
love it. We're
Jesus.
getting right near the end. I'm like, okay.
Wait, is it
stop there?
is it
and
still
never
the-
go back?
is it still the happy like are they in the like pre-apocalypse series?
Yeah.
So
there
they
are
don't know
some
that the
people-
apocalypse is going to happen and it changes its tone entirely.
but the first
Yeah, he was-
episode.
He was like 4 episodes from the end. I guess he'd forgotten whatever was referenced in the first episode.
Oh, the poor sweet bastard.
The first episode is a flash forward that they never catch up to in the anime.
Yeah, you're
never
absolutely
meet
right.
that
I'd
person.
forgotten that. But yeah, he hated Cowboy Bebop because he couldn't understand why he would watch a series just for the hero to lose.
That
And I'm
sounds like
like-
a situation where somebody felt some feelings and didn't like them.
Homie
You-
should stay the fuck out of 70s American cinema. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you just consider the source of the anti-recommendation. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead, Nate, or should I?
We've
Or did
probably
you have more, Shane? Sorry.
got about 5 minutes left before this call ends. I could probably go pretty quickly because I talked about Dungeons and Dragons last week, right?
No, well, just a little.
Yeah, just a
I haven't
little.
seen that yet. I want to see that.
It's a delight.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
Did
heard
did
that.
I
I need to
say the
buy a
whole
copy.
thing about what I realized the movie is? Did I
No, I don't
talk
think
about
so.
it at all?
Maybe?
Maybe.
Refresh my memory.
Okay. That movie, the brilliance of it and the way it's written is that you are watching a movie as though you are the players playing the game. So each character is
Oh,
played by from the perspective of somebody playing that character. So
okay.
it makes it feel like you're part of a D&D session because
Yeah.
everybody
Okay.
it's written
It's
oh,
written like watching a game of D&D played by smart, funny people.
yeah.
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 So it's a multiple first person adventure.
Yes. Yes. And
That's not a bad way of putting it.
Okay.
and the way you know that they meant to do it this way is that there are NPC jokes in there.
There are.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard
Okay.
nothing but good things about this movie.
It's
I
actually
just didn't catch it in the
it is
theaters.
surprisingly delightful, and it just streamed on video today. So I
Yeah,
got
it's on
my
the
Yeah,
Prime.
I need
I
to.
picked up my
I need to get a
steelbook first
copy.
thing this morning.
I signed up to Paramount Plus just to watch it, and I was happy with my decision. Also, I get all the Star Trek now, and apparently the new season of Picard is unlike the others.
New season of Picard is actually worth watching, even if you didn't watch the other two.
I did watch the first one. I watched 2 episodes of the second one.
I had to force myself to get through the second season on general principle. It was okay to get to the third season, which I actually really, really dug. That's going to be the only one of those that I'm buying on video.
I got another thing.
Watch Lower Decks. If you haven't seen Lower Decks, watch Lower Decks.
Yeah, they're gonna have a cameo on Strange New Worlds, like live
Nice.
action. Boimler and Beckett.
Very nice.
Yeah. Amelia started she was looking for some horror movies to watch that I didn't care about because she wanted to watch them on her own, and I was working.
Your daughter rocks. I'm not sure if we mentioned that enough lately.
Never back on.
Yeah, definitely.
We miss her. Her
Yeah.
commentary is welcome and valid and missed.
We should have had her on for Beautiful Dreamer,
Yeah.
based on your comments that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
relayed to us. Anyways, go on.
Well, she picked out The Conjuring. And I was like, yeah, I don't care about that movie. I hate those
Oh.
people, scam artists. I don't like the idea of like legitimizing them in popular culture because they're shitty people. And she was like, okay. So she watched
Well-
the first one and was like, hey, it was okay. I'm going to watch the second one now. She made it about 25 minutes into it and shut it off and was just like, this is so boring.
So
I
I
felt
was going to
so
say,
proud.
I've not seen this. I've seen the first
If you
one. I don't remember it, but
if you don't want the films to legitimize them, you will be pleased to know that the continuing descent of those films has pretty much delegitimized them as well.
They're their
It
own
just
fictional construct.
Dragged them down with it.
I kind of like the Conjuring movies as sort of consummate wind-up jump scare machines. I can absolutely see not giving a flying syrupy shit about them or actively disliking them.
Well, I mean, this girl's seen like some of the scariest things ever made at this point.
Did she see Malignant yet?
Yeah. Yes, she did. She thought it was hilarious.
It is.
Yes,
Good.
it is hilarious.
It is hilarious.
What I like about her.
they did that movie on How Did This Get Made. That's how I know about that movie.
Somebody
so
really,
good.
really dug Dario Argento's Phenomena. Do, 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 do. Sorry.
I've
Sorry.
told.
Wait, is that the one with
I've-
Is that the one with Jennifer Connelly?
Yep.
Yes, it is. And
The one with a
Donald
random Iron
Pleasance.
Maiden song in the middle of it.
Yep.
Yes, and
I've seen that one.
a monkey with a switchblade. A movie so crazy that in the midpoint of the film, a monkey finds a switchblade, and you forget about it because there's too much other crazy shit happening. And
That
then the
movie-
monkey with the switchblade, not switchblade, sorry, straight razor, shows up at the very end to save the day.
Wasn't that movie released in the 80s as Creepers or something?
Yeah, with about 45 minutes cut out of it.
Yeah, I saw that was one of those boxes at the video store that scared the crap out of me.
It was a memorable one.
Yeah.
I have one last thing, and then we'll go to break, and then we'll do Matt's contributions. We do a movie jar where we pick a movie out of the jar that we've written down, and Declan wrote down Casino Royale.
Which
so
one?
the new one, the one with
Okay.
the fancy cars in it,
Okay.
because he's a car freak.
It's a legitimate question.
So yeah, no, I would have shown him the other one because I actually enjoy that film. But
Good luck explaining it to someone, though.
yeah. So he's super excited, and we watched the movie, and I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I remember just disliking it, but I couldn't
saw it
remember
together.
why. Yeah.
We saw it in the theater after a convention.
Yeah. Did I? Is that the one I fell asleep in, or was that Harry Potter?
We both fell asleep during
Okay.
that one. We also saw Harry Potter after convention.
You're gonna fall asleep in the movie you see after a convention.
Yeah, but that movie's boring as shit too.
Which one? Casino Royale or Harry Potter?
Casino Royale.
Yes, I find it very boring.
I've never been a fan of the Craig Bonds.
Yeah, me either.
I kind of am, actually.
I like
A lot
every
of
other
people
one.
are.
I like every other one.
All right, we got 2 minutes till this call ends, so we'll leave it on. We all had our Casino Royale opinions made clear. We will. I'm going to set us over to the Be Right Back screen. We will, in fact, be right back in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Right back.
Right
did
back.
Declan like the cars anyway?
Oh yeah, he loved them. He loved the whole movie. He was. He thought it was great. So
Well, all right.
yeah.